Hi everyone. Um, I'll just welcome you in this part. The next part I'm going to be talking about where we deal with database, where we deal how we just save data to the database, nothing else. By just recalling what we did, we just created an JSF project that is responsible to manage the student registration, where we have names, national ID age, and so on. So just try to see some useful component. You have some output labels, input text, and command button. Not only that, we have seen what you call, in order the controller and view to be able to communicate and also to retrieve some data comes from database, it needs what you call backed bin. This backed bin is responsible to hold the data for the information all data or the information for the validation. That means from here, the market bin, we just use the merged bin. That's what JSF use. Then this one is responsible to manage, to hold the data before saving or sending somewhere else for the validations, nothing else. That's the use for the merged bin. Like if I hold the data, it's going to know, okay, if the data has been held, where am I going to send this data? Now, it to make sure you know exactly where to send those data. Okay, so now we just done with there's something that's must have a constructive no argument, also must hold get and setters. But this one can be achieved by using what we call encapsulations, by using private things. That's when you can do generate get and setters. For the validation, I have just seen how to require the validation, number range, regex. For the customized, I'm planning, to add at the end of this course, I'll be able to send, to customize this validation, come back later at the bonus of this video. That is going to be much focusing on the validations only. So now, the thing we're going to work on right now, we were just able to save data from the registration. We send them somewhere else, another page. But now we need this data to be saved to the database. Okay, database. Go to database implementation. Another database implementation. What do we have from here? Another database. There's something you need to know. We can have what call it. We're going to use GDBC first. GDBC. We have the GDBC. GDBC is an API because it helps us to API means application programming interface. It makes some interface between a certain application with another one. That means it makes sure to database A, that deep database management system, if you're using PostgreSQL, Oracle, and so on, is able to communicate with the NetBeans project or Java project. That means it makes a way those kind of the things will be able to communicate. That's the first thing. You can use GDBC API, or you can use what called Hibernate framework. Hibernate framework. This kind of the Hibernate framework, it is what you call it is actually Hibernate persistence API. Persistence API, GPA, Java persistence API. Right now we do have 3.4.3. This is the latest one. Actually, this also is an API because instead of the Hibernate of this kind of the framework, it is built on top of the GDBC. Okay, the GDBC comes first, then Hibernate has tried to make sure if you are not going to save, we are not going to write the queries and so on, then you can come use the Hibernate. In the next project we want to work on, I will just use the Hibernate. Though in this kind of the learning, I'm just going to tackle the GDBC, just the GDBC. Then the next things we're going to use what called the Hibernate. So what do we need for database management system? Actually, there's somewhat called operation. We have 4 main operation that can be used. Main operation that can be used for this one, for database. Okay, what do we mean for main operation? Nothing else. We just mean what we call CRUD. What stands for create, read, update, and read. Those are the only 4 things that can be applied on database. What do you mean for create? When you say create, there's nothing else, just meaning For create, that means insert. This is the query to insert in database. For the leading, there's nothing else except for select. Okay, this one means for select. Okay, also the update means nothing else also to update the same keyword for the update. Lastly for delete, there's nothing else also. It's for delete. We just use query for delete as the things we do know. Like in SQL query, we just need say delete from specify table. Okay, from table specify the exit the table, or you can delete from table, say database table, where it give a certain condition. You move on. You can update. You say update set. Set like, let us say name to be somewhere. Let's say update table and set that kind of the name where you specify now a condition. Okay, a condition to follow. Actually, it should follow the ID. Okay, it could that's something. For the lead, we just use the query for select all from table. Okay, specify the table name. Then this one for the insert, just use this one, insert into table, and then specify. We can specify the columns. We do have columns automatically, or you can leave it and then specify the values depends on the column. Then you are ready to insert data to database. This is the most operation that can work on this kind of the main operation on database implementation. That's the thing we're going to work on. So the first thing we're going to do, we're just first to insert data to the database. That means when we register the student, we're going to make sure we're able to save this kind of information to the database, nothing else. But before, we're going to make things easier step by step, and then move on later on the hardest part. I mean, we're going to now to implement those kind of the DAO and the entity and so on. So now let us try to work on this one. Let us go to the NetBeans project. We have the registration, just as the recall. We have even the validation and so on. Nothing else. We just made this kind of the validation. Now we just need to make sure whenever we just send or register, we need to call a certain, like this one we're just calling the confirmation page just to confirm the user that have been registered successful. But now on, we just need to make sure when the user click on this action, we're going to call a certain method that is responsible to save data to the database. Okay, is a thing. Let us go to our managed bin so that we can grab this kind of the information and save data to the database. We're done. The steps to follow. I will just write. We'll have to highlight them. Steps to follow. While we're just dealing with database, this one will be helpful for you so that you know exactly what you're doing. Steps to follow while you just connect the database. The first one, you need to import library for your database, your DBMS management system we are using. Like if you're using Postgres, you just need to import the PostgreSQL. I will show you driver. Also, you just need to make sure if you're using MySQL, you can just import the driver for the MySQL and many more. Okay. So then the next step, we just need to register the driver. Of course, you can leave this one because as long as you import the driver, it's going to know exactly the driver you're going to use. You can leave it. It's going to work no matter what. So also after register the driver, you can go ahead now. You create a connection. You need to create a connection. These are steps for the JDBC. Okay, for JDBC. Okay, you create a connection. After creating connection, now you create a statement. Create a statement. Number 4. Now you execute the statement. After this one, fifth, you just need to close the connection. Why? There's some time where actual each DBMS management system like Postgres, it has the reserved number of the connection tasks it can serve at the same time. So if you mess up, you just misuse your connections that are being reserved for a certain somewhere else, you're going to lose a track where when you want to reconnect again, you're going to lose. I mean, you're not going to be allowed. You're going to be, the connection is going to be denied because the number of them it can serve is full of them. So it's better whenever just when you're done with the insert and so on, just close the connection, please. So there's something I need to highlight before I move on. Okay, I'll just, under the execute query, under execute statement, it is too possible. I mean, we have different way we can insert, we can delete, but I wish to highlight two things. For the CRUD, we do have for the CRUD, create, read, and update. For the create, I want create, update, create, update, and read. Kindly, when you just want to execute statement, use this one, what you call execute update. This one is going to return integer number. It returns number of the rows that are affected in database. Okay. Also, you can use also not on that, you can use this one, execute query, or you can use what called execute only, and then specify some SQL query you're going to use. Update, you put SQL query. This one it return this one it return boolean, either true or false. That means if SQL has been executed successful or not, it returns booleans. But you're going to choose either to use update or execute. But for me, I wish for you can use one so that you don't mess up or you just misuse things. For execute update, you know exactly going to return number of the rows that have been affected. So now what about the delete, I mean the insert. Okay, for the insert operation, just kindly use this one. I mean, we just for the create, that means insert is something out for now for lead. Okay, the create, that means for the insert, right? Insert. Now for delete, that means for select. Kindly use what you call execute query, and then this one is going to return a result set, a set of the result. Okay, it return result set. That means the class, it return the result set. It return the set of the result comes from database, nothing else. You're good. So those are the main things you can just grab right now. Now let us back to the NetBeans project. The first one, you said that you need to import the library. For mine, I'm going to use PostgreSQL. That means I'm going to come here on the library, right click on this one, and then you add the library. And then you come here, down here, you can see we can have MySQL GDBC driver, you can have Postgres GDBC driver, that's the one I'm going to use. So just choose the Postgres GDBC driver. It's going to be imported automatically. You can see the Postgres GDBC driver has been imported. So after importing them, now the next step, just register the driver. I'm going to come here under the student.java. Under the student.java, I'm going to create down here. Down here, let us even work here so that you know exactly. Okay, let us put down so that we don't mess up. Let us have down. It has called generated methods from here. So this generated method is responsible for what? This one is responsible to save data to the database. Okay, this one is, we're going to create a method that is responsible to grab all the information, to get all the information, save those kind of information to the database. We're done. So we're going to say this one is going to be public. That means if we need to save data database, you don't have to return anything. Okay, we can return string. That means it return. I'll show you this. I mean, we can return the confirmation because we can return exactly to call. We can call other class. Okay, that means if we return confirmation.html, it's going to it's know exactly that we are turning the another page. You get the point. So let us say public string save student. we need to save the student. So wherever we are going to save the student, what do we need? Let us try return now like this way. That means if we're going to save the student, there are some steps to follow. The first step number one, you just need to register the driver we're going to use, okay? You need to register the driver we're going to use. How can I register the driver? You just use driver manager. You can see, you can use control space, that can be automatically come here, driver manager, and then you say dot register the driver, and then you say new org dot PostgreSQL dot driver. Just that's how you can register the driver for PostgreSQL. Then after this, we just need to create a connection. Before creating a connection, you make sure for the JDBC you have to make sure you do have this one need to be imported and reported. Exception must be caught or declared. You can see this one need to be declared inside of the try and catch. That means I'm going to put the try and catch automatically here. You can come here, you say add the statement with try and catch. You see, these guys, they do everything at the same time, but I wish you to grab all exception that can be raised. Let us grab all exception, and then we delete this one, and then we customize by our own. We say exception dot print stack trace. Let us, you can print to see what's going on behind the scene. Now we go. So now we just need to create a connection. And the create connection, we just use connection, control space, connection comes from java.sql, and then you say con, it's going to be exact the driver manager have been registered, dot, we can create mini get connection. Under the get connection, we're going to have yes, dot get connection, and then this one, it needs 3 parameters. It needs the username, password, I mean the URL, password, username and password. We're done. So it needs 3 parameters. I'm going to show you the easiest one because we're not going automatically to go ahead and then retype each and everything. We can have a method that's hold this kind of all the information. Just let us go down up here. It is not mandatory to come here. You can declare the variable here. You can even declare inside, I mean between the method. Doesn't matter, okay? Let us have private string database URL. Okay, let us have database URL. Also, let us have private string db username. Also, let us have private string db password. Okay, we go from here. That means we're going to have this database URL. For the database URL, you just need to come here. I'm going to show you the easiest one if you don't remember actually. The username for mine is this one. The password, web, I think so. And then for database URL, if you don't remember exact database URL, you can come here under the service, then expand the database. Of course, you have to have a database, of course, so that you can work on this one. Let me just try to remove this one. Let's delete it. So let us expand the driver, and then you go to the PostgreSQL, then you connect using this one. And then you can see I'm Postgres. Let me choose the database. My database is called WebTech. It's called WebTech. And then the username is this one. And then web. And then you can remember the password automatically. This is what you call JDBC URL or database URL. You can go ahead and then you select it and then you copy. Then you can click finish. You can see I'm able to be connected. This case, make sure the thing is working. Okay, if you mess up, it doesn't work, just make sure you come back and then you configure. If you're just seeing the error of you're not authenticated, there's some file you need to edit under the record disk C. If you're using Windows, under the PostgreSQL folder, you go to the version you're just using 14, then you go to the data. After reaching to the data, you're going to find out at the end the file called pg_hba.conf. Then you just need to go here, there, and then you just reconfigure something, you change those kind of the Scrum and so on to trust. Then you're done. Then save, you come back. So now, if we come here under the project that we're working on, the database, I have copied them. I can just now select and then paste here, right here. You can see we have GDB PostgreSQL localhost, the learning for the web tech, this one, we good. Now we can come here. We need to insert data from this kind of database. I can use all NetBean without using what you call the page admin. If you're using the page admin, go ahead, use the page admin. So I'm going to expand these things. You go to this one, that's expand, you go to the public. You can see under the tables, we have this kind of the information table of them. Allow me to lead them so that we can create our own thing. So let us read them. It's not mandatory for you to read them because I want fresh things. Okay. Now you can come here. You can see there's no tables in here. You can right click on this one. You can create a table. Okay. Or you can execute command that is going to create the table. Let us create a table by using this one. Just the table is going to be called student. Use small letters, please. Student. You add the column. We just need first name. First name. You can put underscore instead of capitalized, because if you put capital N, it's going to be small n always, and then it's going to be value character of 30 is enough. And then specify this one is not going to be the primary key. Which one is going to be our primary key? I don't remember it. We're going to check. We didn't specify the primary key, but it's fine. Now let us click OK. Now let us add also last name. Underscore is going to be value character of 30. Then hit OK. We do have also age, if I do remember well. We have age. The age is going to be the numbers. That means integer number 4. We have int 2, integer number 4. Depends on if you're using 64-bit of the version, I mean your window, just use integer number 4. Or if you're using 32-bit, use int 4, int 2. And then specify, can hit OK. What else we were asking? The password. The password. Let us make sure the password is being unique. Let's say password. Let us the password is value character. We said the minimum is 88. We can make sure like it has put 32. Then it's going to be our primary key, and then you click OK. Or we can just disallow this one. We can use the last name to be it is not good because this one can be value and so on. Let us use because this one we are going to request always the user to put the password. Okay, it's fine. In order to update data or delete them. Okay, it's good. No worries. Let us click OK just for the learning. And then you can see the table student has been created automatically. See, we do have the things. Now, if we're going to come here, down here, let us back to our NetBean project. We can see we're going to create now a connection. We need then the creating connection. We need the first one. We need the database URL, comma. Also, we need the username, DB, username. Then after this one, you need DB, password. We good. This is how you can create a connection. After creating connection, you need now to create statement. The next step, create statement, and then you just use statement. Use statement, and then it's going to be connection dot create statement. Okay, then you put semicolon. You can see this one is not imported. You can come here, right click on this one, the import java.sql all. Okay, and then after this one, let us have string SQL that is going to help us to insert the data. So that means we need to insert into table called student small letter. You can go ahead and specify the automatically the columns so that you don't mess up. Let us have first underscore name. This is the table columns. Last name. You're going to follow exactly the path we are just giving, and then last we're going to have the password, and then specify the values. Okay, and then the values. Let me just come here under the next line, and then let us specify the values. Or for the first name is going to be the string. The last name is going to be the string. For the age, it's not going to be the string. It's going to be numbers. For the password, it's going to be Just think. That's how you can do these things, okay? So that you don't mess up. Now we start for the first name. In order to grab the first name, how can you grab the first name? Because we need to get instead of to set, okay? We need to get on the registration page is going to set the data, but from here we need to get that kind of the data, okay? How can we get that kind of the information? How can we grab this kind of the information? Actually, so you can grab that kind of the information comes from the student, okay? I will show you what we're going to initialize so that we can save the student with all the information. So now from the insert into student, first name, last name, age and password, you can see we have the values from here. First name, we're going to do what we call concatenation, because if we try to do what is called we can, like from here we can use get password and so on. It's fine from here. In this class it's fine. We can even use to put the first name, last name automatically, because this one can be accessed inside our class, because it is inside of it is inside here, okay? Or you can go ahead, you create an object they're going to have all this kind of information, and then you just grab that kind of the information. Like we say, we can have student inside here. That means we're calling the class itself inside this kind of class, but it's good, it's fine. We can have, by using this kind of the constructor, we can set those kind of, and then we get them, okay? I will show you, because we're going to copy this kind of information to be used in another advanced way. Allow me to do that. Okay, we can go ahead and then we can just grab, we can get from the end user, just say it's just setting the data, we can get the data automatically. How can you do that things? You can come here, just do concatenation, just plus, and then you do, sorry, just put double quote, then you do concatenation. You can say get automatically. You can get the first name. This one is going to get, because we're in the same class, you can get automatically this kind of information. You can get like the first name, for example, like this way, or you can go ahead and then you create, you can go ahead the simplest way, because this one is going to be automatically shifted to other class. You can come here, you can say it has have student, it has say the student, for example. It has say the student. We can say student, the student. That means we save the student or get exact the student while that we're working on, okay? You can come here, instead of say get first name, is going to work actually. Or you can say, okay, now let's say dot the student dot get, can get the first name, okay? It is the same thing, doesn't matter. By inserting this one, okay? So let us have also the student without working on that, let's get the last name. So let us also this one, let us have concatenation for this one. For the age, now let us say the student. Let's expand this one. Dot get age, grab the age. Lastly it has grab for. Now the student row being saved, dot get password. We're good. That's how we can grab this kind of information, okay? I hope you're able to see this one. The reason why I just use this one to use the student or student, I mean to grab, we're going to pass this kind of information when you're just sending data automatically, okay? This is how it's going to work. Then after this one, we just need to make sure at the end, let us put semicolon. Now the next step is just to execute this kind of the query. Just need to do what you call execute query. Okay, I mean you execute update, I mean you execute statement, okay, actually statement. And then how we say we're going to use this one, we're going to say statement dot execute update, okay? We're going to use execute update with parts, and then we use that kind of the SQL. This one is going to return number of the loads that have been affected. That means I'm going to say int number of laws affected, and then say this one is going to return exact the number of the laws that are affected in database. And then you can come say if number of the rows we're going to confirm if the data being saved to the database greater than or equal to 1. That means there are certain data that are being saved to the database. Now we can return the confirmation. Okay, we can return the confirmation page. Where else? This one, the confirmation.xhtml. We can say now return. We can return confirmation. Just use confirmation only. The thing is going to know exactly what to do. Okay, you can say confirmation now. We good. So after this one, before calling this one, you need to first to close. Need to close connection. Need to close the connection. Then close connection dot close. We good. So otherwise, what's going to be returned? Even you can come here, we can import the confirmation down here. No matter what, return the confirmation. If anything happened, doesn't matter. Okay. So now let us try to run the program. But before we run the program, we need to modify something under the registration. Under registration, we say action to be like this way. Now we need to make sure we're going to use the student dot. If it says student dot, you can see this one doesn't have something, doesn't show something. Okay, how can we make sure we can grab that kind of the information? You just use the same way we did like this way, and then it says student dot, and then you can see save student. Okay, we save student, and then the variable going to be saved to the student. Which one? It is this one, the student, exactly this kind of the student, a student, small letters. Okay, we say student. Which one we're passing actually? It is this one, the student.password, student.age. This one is just setting the data. This is just like to create a variable. This kind of thing is going to grab the data and then pass them to this kind of the variable, and then it will be the start to save. It will be saved automatically. Okay, now it has run the program. This is what's going to happen. If there is error, we just debug. It has execute so that it can restart. Deploying statement. The shutdown port is already in use. This kind of the port. You just need to make sure the Tomcat is not running. Let us first make sure this one is not running. It has dismissed. Okay, you can go ahead under the folder where you have your Tomcat. Okay, and then under that kind of the folder, we can go ahead and then we remove. We make sure it is shut down. Okay, like you go to the CD bin, and the bin you can see when we just list, you can see we have this kind of the shutdown. The way you just used to before to start up, you can go ahead and use shutdown automatically, and then it say shutdown. It's going to be shut down automatically. Okay, now let us run the program. Okay, we hope it's going to be deployed automatically. Just waiting the Apache Tomcat to be started up. Okay, almost the end. Okay, has been restarted. Then you provide the password. Authenticated. Okay, student registration app has been restarted now. Okay, we good. You can see we can browse automatically by using this one, or it's going to be open by them itself. Okay, you can go ahead and then you can select, or you just go there. It's going to be open the default browser you're just using, nothing else. You can see we have this kind of the student information. Let us try to save some information. We provide some information to say. That's 40 Let's put the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. The minimum is 8, okay? And then register. The phone. We just make sure there's something in Legix. We just say it's not. We just remove there's something before, just be the one I was showing you how to use the Legix. Let me just first go ahead and the last name, because the last name should be always numbers, characters. Okay, we just mess up somehow. I'm going just to do like this way, so that when you're going to learn, you know exactly how to deal with this one. I'm going just to copy and then do like this way, comment out, and then let me just paste down here. Then remove this kind of the validation things, because the last name we can be required, of course, but the validator message, you can say last name is required. Okay, now we can come here, we'll refresh the page. Just make sure it was I think just missed this one. This one was the validation, right? Let me just, it's okay. 3 of them. Let us now try to refresh. Okay, we good. Now it has put this kind of the information 40, then say password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and then register. You can see, dear Jeremy, thank you for registering. Your password is this one. Okay, it has tried to go to the database to see if data has been saved there. Okay, so that we know exactly what's happened. Now let us go to the database from here on our Let's Business project. You can see there's no error that are being shown here. Let us go to the service. Let us try to do student. We say view the data. You can see the information has been saved. Jeremy is saying, you can see it is working. It is working. That's how we can save data to the database. So let me just recall what I did. So that you know exactly what happened there. The first one, we just come here, we register the driver, we create a connection. We have to insert those data. This data we just created and a method, an object they're going to insert in this kind of the class, and then say the student dot get first name. We just grab the first name, we get the last name, also we get the age, lastly we get the password. Don't mess up. If you have numbers, you don't surround it with this kind, like this one of the code. Okay, so the next one, what we did, we just come to the registration.html one, or this one, where, okay, this one, and in this class, that's where you have, we just call action student.save student, and then we pass the parameters called the student. This kind of the student comes from where? It comes from this kind of we use student.password, student.age, and so on. Okay, that's the value we're just passing here. Then the data has been able to be saved in the database. We good. So now we're just done with just creating create. Let us work on the update and read. We're going first to retrieve the data. After retrieve data to be shown a certain table. That means wherever the user saved, we're going to call other page. So that can be shown on the list. Tables. Then we go. Thank you all. See you in the next part.